Northern California. My name is Mark Haney, and welcome to Entrepreneurs Unlimited. We are here to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution here in our region. Our show, this is our first show. I am a little nervous, I'm not going to lie, but what the show is about is we are going to meet entrepreneurs that make a huge difference in our world, and we've got some great ones on tap for tonight, or for this morning, excuse me. A little bit about my background. I've started a few businesses, built a few businesses, even sold a few businesses. And I know enough to ask some good questions. So that's my plan today, is to learn from some people that are actually doing it, the real world entrepreneurs, the men in the arena. And today we have a good friend of mine that is been kind enough to jump in and share some of his stories. And after we're done talking to this guy, we are going to move to some people that are doing some great things in Rockland. So as I introduce our first guest, I want to say you know him for his MMA fame, but I know him very well about his entrepreneurial activities. He's built several companies, and so today we're here to talk with Uriah Faber about his entrepreneurial activities and all your businesses and all the fun stuff. What's going on, Uriah? How you doing?
What's up, folks? And I hope everybody's pumped about this new show. I think it's going to be a huge resource for everyone. I mean, for those who don't know, Mark and I are buddies through a group called EO Entrepreneurial Organization, and it's basically a sounding board it's almost like AA for entrepreneurs. We got something special about us, and we get together and bounce ideas off and share things. And I mean, what a great idea to bring this to a broader spectrum and hopefully motivate some people, hopefully kickstart some ideas and educate and get people excited about doing business and blowing up Sacramento and beyond.
Thanks, Uriah, and thanks for being my first guest and for holding my hand through this time. And I'm looking forward to this and helping Sacramento get to know you a little bit better.
Right.
Can we, as we know that being an entrepreneur is fun, but it's definitely a full contact sport.
Right.
Can you give us an overview of your businesses and what you're doing?
It's been an interesting progression. For me, I've always been somebody that is just about doing my own thing. I feel like I work super, super hard, and I'm creative and confident enough to go after things. So I started my first business right out of college just to make ends meet and thought it would be fun. I started something called TLC, Top of the Line Coaching, and I was doing wrestling camps. I was working for the college, making, next to nothing. I think I was making $7,000 a year as a salary for like 10-month full-time gig, and I was having to raise funds everywhere else. So I started coaching little kids at some of the junior highs around town. I started doing an after-school program for college or for high school kids, and then I was in the summers. I was working wrestling camps, so that was the first business that I really started. But from there, my business world has kind of revolved around my passion, which has been mixed martial arts and sports, etc. So I have my gym downtown,
Ultimate Fitness,
which is Ultimate Fitness. That's okay. 17th and I, and we've been open since 2006. I have my management company, which is MMA Incorporated, which has been open since 2006 as well. And we have helped guide the careers of some of the most successful fighters on the planet and current, former, and future champions. We have my clothing line, which you're rocking and looking good, by the way. You can check that out on my Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah.
You got Torque, which is a clothing line, and I've done another clothing line before called Form that I sold to K-Swiss some years back. I've also got my team, which is trying to build a name for Sacramento. Just like all of us entrepreneurs are trying to put Sacramento on the map in the business world, we've got our team, which is representing. There's the Sacramento Kings, and there's the Sac Republic, and there's Team Alpha Male. And Team Alpha Male is making some huge waves in the MMA world and making Sacktown proud. So that's something that I started, almost 11 years ago now.
So now Team Alpha Male, we'll talk. What is that business? Can you describe that business?
You know, that's been the one business that's more of a passion. So it's almost like a nonprofit without having the paperwork. It's me developing the next generation of guys. As far as the business, it does serve my other businesses, which is my gym and also my clothing line and also my management company, etc. And my own brand as a fighter. Someone that's created something bigger than myself. But it is it's kind of a sounding board and a springboard for guys to get their own careers going. We've got a current UFC champion, TJ Dillashaw, that has just blown up and making an amazing career. We've got guys like Chad Mendes that just fought for a world championship, and Joseph Benavidez, who's been title contender, and the list goes on and on and on. A new superstar, Paige Van Zant. So this is a business that's been all about my passion about helping other people, and it's been a lot of fun.
Thanks, Uriah. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to find out a little bit more about Uriah's branding and some of the other things he's doing outside of UFC. I'm Mark Haney. You're listening to Entrepreneurs Unlimited on KHTK Sports 1140 and HaneyBiz.com. And welcome back to Entrepreneurs Unlimited. I'm Mark Haney, and we're talking with Uriah Faber. He is in the house. We wrestled him out of bed. We actually stole him away from all the stuff he's doing in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah, I actually flew in last night. Got in around 11 just to be here and talk some business with my boy Mark.
Thanks. I know you're doing some really cool stuff in Vegas. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But let's talk about, so we talked about one of your companies. You've got several companies. And a lot of it is about building that brand, right? And it's around Uriah and the California Kid. Talk to us about what you do. I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there thinking about building their brand. How do you build the brand for Uriah Faber?
Especially as an individual and as an athlete and someone that's in the limelight, I think the most important thing for me is understanding who I am and what I want. And then just being myself and not being afraid to be myself. So what I mean by that is if I'm thinking something, I'll say it. If I want to do something, I'll do it. A lot of times people sit around and they think and they think and they think and they never do. And as far as building a brand goes, it's choosing what you want to be out there and then finding creative ways to let people know about it. And that means understanding about strategic partnerships, about the importance of doing PR, about working harder than anyone else, which is something that is often overlooked when people think they want to do something. They don't realize how much work it is. But it takes a lot of work to let people know who you are.
That's one of the things about Uriah that's always leaped out to me is that you do so many things and you work incredibly hard. You make it look fun. I'm sure it is fun in a lot of ways. So let's talk about your earlier influences. You grew up here in the Sacramento area in Lincoln. What were you like as a young guy?
Man, I was a pretty free-spirited guy, and I think my parents, my mom Suzanne, and my pop Theo, have always been really supportive, but not necessarily like cracking the whip. I had a lot of freedom growing up, and I think that their mentality was about freedom and kind of hippies as I was a young kid, where they were I would pretty much run around naked in the streets of Isla Vista. I would like the first 3 years of my life in Santa Barbara, like the college town around Santa Barbara, and always encouraged to just
some things never change, huh?
Yeah. If I can, I got my shirt off in the sun, man. Shoes off. They say the closer you are to the ground, the longer you live, they say. So if I can be barefoot, I'll do that as well. But just always encouraging, but never really pushing. So I think that has been allowed me to think freely and attack my passions and not be afraid to do anything.
Now, as a young guy, there's different things that kind of shape us as we grow up. Were there any times when you were young there you had pivotal moments that maybe were really difficult that sort of shaped you and helped you to be who you are?
I've had a really, really unique background from coming from this my early beginnings was in like a Christian commune type of deal, and then my parents got in a kind of a nasty divorce when I was maybe in kindergarten, and then splitting time between my parents and not having a lot of money and things like that, but always enjoying myself and my parents always made sure we had food on the table and we had a warm bed and all that good stuff. So that kind of stuff. But I think the thing, as far as an entrepreneur's perspective, the thing that really shaped me was when my dad has always been a contractor, so he's been kind of his own boss, and I'm used to that. It wasn't like he had anyone to answer to necessarily. It was him finding ways to make ends meet. So that's an entrepreneurship on its own. I wouldn't say my pop was the best entrepreneur in the world, but he was a very crafty guy. He was a craftsman as far as his building houses goes. But he was always such a nice guy. I think he'd always like to give a good deal. You know what I mean? And my mom on the other side, and this is kind of the beginning of where I started to think, why the heck did we not do this earlier? We started a coffee shop. My stepdad, Tom, and my mom, we were in the small town of Lincoln, and we had, we'd been struggling, really. My mom just had my little sister, and she was 38 when she had my little sister, and she used to work at Nordstrom, so she was off. My stepdad had worked for the city, and during this time, we all, as a family, were building this tiny little coffee shop in the town of Lincoln. It took like a year. I remember the coming soon sign was up for probably a whole year. It was like coming soon, and it faded out because it had been so long. It was taking us so long to build this thing. And that whole business, when it started to run, just completely changed, the financial situation for us, the way we were doing everything. And I remember thinking, why didn't we open our coffee shop like 5 years ago or whatever? Why didn't we do it sooner? And It was just a step in the right direction. I remember as a 8th grader seeing this thing and seeing how all of a sudden we had a little bit more cash, and how we were working hard, but it was creating something fun and had a great culture. And that was when I really realized, like, just go do it.
Why do you think people decide to hold? Why do they hold off? And it's like you have these good ideas. Why would someone wait?
Life is scary, man. And I mean, talking to a guy that does something that most people would think is pretty scary, which is, go in and fight other people. Life is scary, and it's not the fear of actually doing something. It's the fear of failure and the fear of the unknown and things like that. And that's the thing that entrepreneurs just have to completely put out of their mind and be, fearless and attack things. And that's, some guys have it, some don't. Can it be taught? I think it can be taught. But definitely people have it naturally as well.
Interesting. So people that know you, a lot of people feel like they know you because you're such a nice guy. Maybe it's a lot like your father, and they feel like they're your friend. So you have this charisma about you, and so I'm curious as to where did that come from, and that's got to be a part of your brand. Is that a fair statement?
It definitely is. I mean, when you see me come out and fight, for those who are listening that haven't watched me fight before, I don't know if I'm one of the few, but I'm definitely the one that stands out, who's smiling. I say hi to my mom every time before the fight. I give Sacramento a shout out, and usually try to, if somebody is close is fighting cancer, somebody, I try to send a good message out there. But it's definitely part of my brand, and I think, like I said before, when you're branding something, you got to be real. You don't want to be the caffeine-free drink when you're full of caffeine, and that's the thing that I've done well, is just been myself. And luckily, because of my parents and how I was raised and everything else, that likable enough to have built a brand on just being me.
When we come back, we're going to talk to Uriah Faber about what it's like to juggle multiple priorities and multiple businesses. You've got several that we haven't even talked about yet. I'm Mark Haney, and you're listening to Entrepreneurs Unlimited on KHTK Sports 1140 and HaneyBiz.com. All right, and welcome back to Entrepreneurs Unlimited. I'm Mark Haney, and we are back with Uriah Faber, MMA superstar and local big-time entrepreneur. Uriah, we were talking about your brand. We talked about you growing up. Talk to us just for a minute about what it was like to be you in high school you were a wrestler. Were you a ladies' man? What happened there? I know you have a ton of charisma. How did you use that in high school, and then how did you? And then we'll launch you into your career.
High school was a lot of fun for me. I loved high school actually. Loved elementary school and college too, but high school was super cool. I was a Lincoln Fighting Zebra right up the hill here, and there's only at the time, Lincoln's blown up now, but there's about 8,000 people in town, and we had about 600 in our school. My brother was a senior when I was a freshman, and I was an athlete. I definitely was a standout athlete. I was a captain of the wrestling team, captain of the football team, and was in honors classes. Was always good with my studies, and actually was there's something called Boys State, which is a leadership. They take the top male and the top female from the school, and they put them in this leadership program and things like that. So I definitely was a leader at that point, but also getting into a lot of trouble. But we were in a small town, 8,000 people. The trouble was not.
What's getting into trouble in Lincoln? It's not tipping over cows, is it?
I did try to tip over cows, which is impossible, by the way. But out in the country, doing stuff that high school guys do out at the lake, and having big parties, and we were a bunch of country dudes at the time. Really, we had a couple of lights in town. There was like one fast food restaurant, and it was good, man. I think you get a real tight knit group of friends, and I'm still really tight with my guys from high school, and I had a long term girlfriend also, who I was with my girlfriend for the end of high school into college and beyond for a little bit before we called it quits. But it was a small town feel. Everybody knows everybody, and I never got any fights or anything. It wasn't like I was getting any fights because we all knew each other, and frankly, I don't think anyone wanted to mess with me, and I didn't really start any fights in general. Yeah. Just loved football and loved wrestling. And
what position did you play in football?
I was a cornerback. I was all league for corner, and we had a wing T offense, so I played a little running back also. I was the third one in, so every play they'd run a new guy in.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you wrestled. You were a great wrestler, and you walked on at UC Davis, right?
Right.
And then what happened from there? What happened through college so that you could launch your career?
And this is something that I've learned throughout the years, and I've applied it to my fight game and to my athletic career and everything else, is just accomplishing through hard work and positive attitude and pushing through adversity, like a bunch of the different rules that we have for success. But then realizing, like, why didn't I think bigger? And I was a pretty good wrestler in high school. I was top 12 in the state. I lost in double overtime to my buddy Larry Rodriguez, who to be top 8 in the state, which places, and then went to college and was a walk-on. 3 of the 4 guys that beat me my senior year in high school ended up going to UC Davis. So I was a guy who was always playing catch-up. I felt like always feeling like I needed to do more and do more. Really closed that gap. And was a walk-on to the team, but after that year, I beat our team captain, another friend of mine, David Yee, who is our top guy at the time. I beat him in an open tournament and earned myself a small scholarship and kind of secured my spot as the starting wrestler for the remainder of the year. And I'll tell you what, college, I came from Lincoln, right? We can there's a time we're drinking beers, sitting on the roof in between lunches in the springtime, there's you go camp out at the lake for a couple days at a time. I lived on 10 acres. You could do fireworks or shoot guns or do whatever you wanted. And then I went into the dorms, and all of a sudden you have RAs and RDs and these resident directors and residence assistants and people telling you to be quiet after a certain hour, and I almost got kicked out of college. What
a life change, huh?
Yeah, it was crazy.
So then you launch you get out of college, UFC and the MMA sport is starting to take off, and you've all of a sudden you've launched again into this massive career, and you've got, is it 7, 8, 9 companies?
Yeah.
And so now you've relaunched it again to this whole new realm that is way different than college even.
Right.
How do you manage these priority? I've got like 7 or 8 companies too, and I've got CEO rock stars at each of these companies, and they run the thing
Right.
while I can do the radio show. How do you do it?
It's kind of the same thing. I feel like I have great strategic partnerships, and like I said, when I got in trouble in college, it was a real awakening. Like, hey, you got to adapt and play by other people's rules, and you learn a lot, right? And it was just me being in a new environment and getting the whip cracked on me a little bit, but realizing, okay, you got to play by other rules in different environments, etc. And I feel like, in the business world, I've got great partnerships. I feel like I go above and beyond to do my part. When I serve a purpose in a business, I go above and beyond to do my part, but I find strategic people to fill in the blanks for me, and so it's a lot of great ideas, hard work, but working together.
So when I watch you fight on TV, you guys are hitting each other. When you get hit, since you and I are friends and I'm an old man, I almost feel like I'm seeing my son get hit. It hurts me. And this question may get asked of you at other times, but how much longer are you going to fight?
It's not going to be too much longer, I don't think. Right now, I'm currently coaching the Ultimate Fighter against Conor McGregor, who's the interim champ at 145 pounds. And, I feel really good. For those who don't know, Mark Haney is also a stellar athlete aside from being a businessman, and he's on a quest to live forever. He's been, doing every trick in the book to extend the life, but
going counterclockwise.
Yeah, trying
baby.
to go counterclockwise. That's we should talk more about that, or you should talk more about that at some point. But for me, it's been something that's passion, and I feel like I'm still at the top of my game, and I'll probably go another, at the most, 2 years.
All right. Well. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what you're doing for the future, beyond the fight game, beyond the businesses that you have now, and we're going to have a little fun with you called the lightning round, where I'm going to expose the real, not that this is not the real Uriah Faber, a little bit more of your quick reaction time. We'll see how quick you are. I'm Mark Haney. You're listening to Entrepreneurs Unlimited, and we'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back to Entrepreneurs Unlimited. I'm Mark Haney, and we are back with Uriah Faber. So, Uriah, we've been talking for the last 20 minutes, and let me take a quick time out here to say thank you to our sponsors, Owen Dunn Insurance and 5 Star Bank. Without them, this show would be less possible. So, anyway, thank you guys. So, Uriah, we're going to have a little bit of fun now. Not that I've been having fun, but we're going to have a little bit more.
We're stepping it up.
Yeah, we're going to step it up a little bit. So we're going to do lightning round. Okay, so this is where I'm going to say a word, or I'm going to say a sentence, and then I want you to give me a quick reaction to that, quick 1 or 2 word reaction.
This is my brain reflexes?
Brain reflexes.
Uh-oh.
Okay, here we go. Favorite sport?
I'm going to have to go football.
Okay. Craziest fight?
My own?
Yes.
Bali, Indonesia. Look it up. Google.
All right. Last time you were afraid?
Man, I hate turbulence. Had some bad turbulence on the way to New York about a couple months ago.
First love?
First love. Well, my first girlfriend, probably Michelle.
Date that you're going to get married?
TBD.
Okay. So I see how it is. Okay. So favorite TV show?
All-time favorite TV show is almost like my own babysitter because my parents are always working. Cheers.
Okay. Ginger or Marianne?
I gotta say Marianne.
Oh, the girl next door. Okay. So the sexiest female in UFC?
The sexiest female in UFC. I got to go with that girl, Paige Van Zant. She's down there at the gym. If you guys want to come sign up to look at her, come on over.
All right.
It's
She's right here in Sacramento, right?
Yeah, she's a beautiful girl and also dangerous. So be kind when you talk to her.
All right. Look forward to that. And okay, so last one. What are you looking forward to over the next 6 months? Most looking forward to?
My house is almost done. It's been almost done for a couple months now. So I'm actually really excited about getting this house finished. My pop favorite construction. We've done this thing together, and I can't wait to get in there and kick back and relax and have all the boys over and celebrate.
So you're in Vegas now, and you're working on the Ultimate Fighter
Right.
reality TV show. And it looks like there's a little friction between you and the other coach. Can you give us an idea where that's going, and then a little bit more about your acting career? And because I know you have movies that you're making, you're doing all kinds of cool stuff. And if there's anything
Right.
beyond that you need to share with us that we have to know.
Okay, well, first off, I'm pumped to be part of the dental business that we're doing
Oh yeah, with Aaron.
with Aaron, which is awesome. Brightway Dental, and we're opening our first location over in Elk Grove, so that's exciting. And then we've got our boy Robert Beatles,
Oh,
who's
yeah.
a friend of ours as well. Who's
Memory Tag?
the Memory Tag. We're doing that, and these are cool things that are outside of the sport, but or outside of my sport and business ventures and the real estate as well. But so the reality show, yeah, it's this guy Conor McGregor. He's a superstar right now. He's like the fastest growing star in the sport, young guy, and he just beat my teammate Chad Mendez, who stepped in on short notice. And we have to sit day by day and be in each other's face, coaching opposite teams. And we've actually got into it a couple times. Physically, we're both kind of quick witted and basically talking crap, and keep somehow getting locked up and wrestling around and stuff. So it's gonna get interesting, man. And that's gonna shoot in September.
What about this Maxim Hotties thing? Is it?
Oh,
Is
Maxim
that
with
something
that?
I should be getting involved in? What is that?
Yeah. Well, that was just that was a short video they did promotional for the Maxim Hometown Hotties, and they basically took that little video, which you can look it up. It's myself and Craig Robinson, and developed it into a movie, and I'll be going to film that movie in September. It's called Beach Pizza. I'm pretty excited about it.
And there's a bunch of bikinis.
There will be a lot of bikinis there. I think you might need to come out there and help. I think is there a
Are there any 50?
fluffer? Fluffer, maybe?
Are there any 50-year-old in bikini? They're probably not. It's all in the TV.
You maybe. I mean, they may get overlooked, but I'm sure there's one or two.
Okay. Well, Uriah, we're wrapping up now. Just all I can say is thank you for being the first guest ever on Entrepreneurs Unlimited. You held my hand. I am now relaxed somewhat, and I am forever indebted. Is there anything I can do for you? What can I do to help you?
Have me back on the show, man, and let's
Okay.
talk some more business. And for those who don't know, Mark, aside, he's been fairly humble, very humble actually, on his accomplishments. So he's an amazing businessman and a great dude, a great family man, and we can all learn a lot from each other. And I've learned a ton from Mark Haney, so I appreciate you, man, as a mentor and a friend, and pumped to be on the show, and looking forward to listening in every Saturday.
Thanks a lot, Uriah. Again, I'm Mark Haney. You're listening to Entrepreneurs Unlimited. When we come back, we're going to hear what's happening in Rockland. There's some really cool stuff happening in the city of Rockland that have to do with entrepreneurship. We'll share that in just a minute. You're listening to Entrepreneurs Unlimited on KHTK Sports 1140 and HaneyBiz.com.
'Cause I'm TNT, I'm dynamite.
And welcome back to Entrepreneurs Unlimited. I'm Mark Haney, and we have some exciting guests coming from Rockland. We have City Council person Diane Ruslin and co-founder of the Hacker Lab, Eric Ulrich. How you guys doing today?
Great. Thank you for having us.
Great. Thank you for being here. Well, now, Diana, what's going on out in Rockland? It's a business-friendly community, and I know you guys are planning for some great things happening out there. Can you give us an overview?
I guess the question would be what's not going on in Rockland? We have a lot of really great positive growth from new businesses moving into town to new developments. We are so proud of our parks. We have, community parks, neighborhood parks. We are also expanding that. And our higher education as well as our K-12. We have the top rated schools in the county.
It feels like you're creating an environment that's great for entrepreneurs. I know you're bringing in Hacker Lab as a new entrant into the Rockland market, and we have Eric here. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing good. Good morning.
Good. Welcome. So, Hacker Lab, cool name. What is it?
Hacker Lab's all about entrepreneurship and education. So that's what happens. You join Hacker Lab, you learn new skills, technology, manufacturing, engineering, startup skills. You meet people, and it's like community mentorship. You know, we help each other get going.
So now you have an office in Sacramento,
Yep.
and I know Uriah, his gym is next door, and I know he shares some office space with you guys. Why'd you choose Rockland? How did that happen?
Rockland chose us.
Aha.
Like we were looking at Davis, talking with the city of Davis, and then we had started a partnership with Sierra College about advancing the awareness and education of 3D printing throughout the region. And that program kind of led one step to another to more advancing technologies. And then all of a sudden they're like, we want a Hacker Lab in this area that our students can access outside of their classes as a support mechanism, you know, to support their education.
You use the term education, and Rockland is really known for their education, right? They've got Sierra College, you've got other colleges. Can you share a little bit about why the differentiation in Rockland and from an education standpoint?
Sure. Rockland, we're the only city that could say you could educate your child from a preschool education to a 4-year college education, because we have Sierra College and we have William Jessup University, and they are expanding as well. They're doing construction right now for more living opportunities for their students. So for us, we really want to create an environment for innovation and for creativity. And if you look at the workforce and what is resonating and what our students are going to need in the future, that's a big component. The job workforce, that whole environment is not the same it was 20 years ago. So to prepare and to have our young college students take advantage of that is great with the Hacker Lab, to give them different opportunities, but to create those really great the next big idea, and
Right.
also to get them, but also part for Rockland is to really create the environment, but then for them to expand and to open their businesses in Rockland.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Hacker Lab concept, it's a shared workspace concept, and as you think about why is that such a great concept, Eric?
Joining resources, we're all stronger together. The education thing, it's like a lot of informal education. School's not right for everybody. Going in there and taking the semester long approach where you got homework and then you get your units, like I just want to go in there and learn something as fast as I can. And I'm on YouTube and I'm Googling stuff and I'm figuring things out, but then I need to ask some questions. So I just go over to the guy, hanging out in the corner, ask him a couple questions, get over that hump. And that's kind of, that's what it's all about.
So what's the environment? When you walk into a Hacker Lab, I walked into the Hacker Lab there in Rockland, and I've seen the one in Sacramento, and it's very casual, right? It's extremely casual.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about the vibe you create with the, the casualness.
Well, so the place takes on different lives at different times of the day. So in the evenings is pretty much our event and class time. So at any given evening on a weekday, we'll have three or so, maybe 4 classes going on at the same time. And there'll be meetup groups, there'll be like business networking events, and then there'll be like a CAD design class or like a intro to iPhone programming class, all happening at the same time. But during the day, it's like the business mindset. So people are going in and out, using the conference room, working on their projects, bringing up a laptop, laser cutting something, using the CNC tools.
Oh, wow.
3D
Very
printing.
high-tech stuff. So I have some offices in Rockland as well, and we're working on a shared workspace concept that I think ties very well to Hacker Lab. We could talk a little bit about that more when we come back from the break, but we also want to talk about with Diana about what the plan is for Rockland. I know you're building out. You're going to be one of the first regions or one of the first communities in the area that's built out in terms of land. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I'm Mark Haney. You're listening to Entrepreneurs Unlimited on KTK Sports 1140 and HaneyBiz.com. Welcome back to Entrepreneurs Unlimited. I'm Mark Haney, and we are here with Diana Reslin of the City of Rockland and Eric Ulrich from the Hacker Lab. And I want to say a special shout out to our sponsor of this segment, Mr. Richard Bakken and Clay Evans of Stiefel Financial. Thank you guys for the help on this. So, Diana, we were talking about what's going on in Rockland, and that talk to us about how many more years before you are fully built out in Rockland.
We're looking at probably about 15 to 20 years. And when we say built out, we mean this space, the land that we have, of course, we'll go on and continue to build, as we go, on. But we're at a very pivotal point because we're one of the, cities within our sister cities that at that time built out. You look at our Lincoln or Roseville, those are like, 50, 70 years out. But, the city, our vision statement is to become a city that provides its citizens with exceptional quality of life while maintaining its small sense of community. And that's what we've done. And we've had great growth. We have created an environment that is family friendly, business friendly, recreation friendly. So we really have everything. And we're really proud of that.
And so so you have Sacramento's doing all kinds of huge growth, and you're on the outskirts, but you have this sort of hotbed of entrepreneurship happening, even despite all the great things that are happening in Sacramento downtown with the arena and so on. How do you fit, or how do you feel like you fit within within the region?
I mean, I think every area offers something different, so it's a personal choice what type of environment. But I do think, we have been one of the fastest growing cities in California since 2000 with 64% growth. So there's, a reason why people are coming here is because they love it. And also where we're located. We are, centrally located to go down to Napa, to go to San Francisco, to go up the hill, if you want snow. So it's a location. And businesses want to move here because their families have a great quality of life, which means they have a great quality of life as well. Short commute, but, schools, parks. As I said, it's been a really big attraction.
So, Eric, did you move, when you guys opened your office out here, did you move to Rockland, or where are you living these days?
Oh, I'm still downtown.
Still downtown, can't leave, huh? So how's the Rockland office going? How is it to expand? What do you guys see with the Hacker Lab moving forward?
So we're up to 85 members. It's 2 months. So we're happy with that. Going into this, I would never have guessed that we would have been able to get this many members this fast. And it's just been such a welcoming community. It's blown me away of how many people coming from all across the region, to this facility. So it's great.
That's great. So now you guys are a for-profit business, but it definitely has that sense of you're doing something great for the community as well.
Yeah.
That's got to be very rewarding.
Yeah, we give back a lot. We do a lot of youth-focused camps. So we'll do camps in underserved communities. We've done multiple youth hackathons, which is like a weekend long, forget Little League or the soccer league. This is like robotics challenges or like programming challenges over the weekend. They're a lot of fun.
So these are young people learning to do business stuff, be entrepreneurial.
Yeah, ages 8 to 15, and they'll go up there and it's like Shark Tank, but for youth. And it'll blow you away. They'll be programming and pitching business propositions and all this.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And so what other? Okay, so as Granite, back to you, Diana, for just a second. As Granite Drive, what kind of businesses are you looking to attract? Who's a good fit? Hacker Lab's obviously a great fit, but and my offices are up and down Granite Drive, where we've got car dealerships and so on. What are you looking to put into into Rockland in order to fill out the city?
Sure. Well, at this point, we're looking at our quarry district, and that's, Rockland is known for its quarries. So right on Rockland Road, we have a big area that we're going to have an outdoor theater, open space, very different, not, your typical community parks where you might have a water feature and, swing sets and all that type of thing. So it's going to be very different, a really meeting place, events. Our outdoor theater will have Battle of the Bands. We'll, kind of really create that, but that will also create energy to develop our downtown, because Rockland's downtown burned down not only once, but twice. So, but to me, that's an opportunity, because it's it's just a blank canvas, and so it's what the community wants to create there that will really surge that whole area. So the first step is our quarry district. We broke ground. We're on phase 1, and it's really going to be something outstanding in the county.
You're originally from the East Coast. We've talked about Princeton and how Rockland can really create a vibe that's extremely unique. Is that part of? Is that going to be part of it with the colleges and that kind of stuff?
Well, I think if you look at any city that it functions at a high level, one of the biggest components is education. The stronger your education program draws people, business. We also have, if it's a safe city, we're one of the safest cities in Placer County. Another component is recreation. We have phenomenal parks. So you have all those ingredients. You know that you can create a really, really sustainable city. So we have everything, and we've worked really hard to really elevate that for our residents, and it's working really well.
Thank you very much, Diana. Thank you, Eric. I really appreciate having you guys on our first show. You were with Uriah Faber, who is a ton of fun. I look forward to getting to know both of you better since I'm in Rockland as well. You're listening to Entrepreneurs Unlimited. I'm Mark Haney. When we come back, we'll have some closing thoughts and a couple of special messages. Again, you're listening to Entrepreneurs Unlimited on KHTK Sports 1140 and HaneyBiz.com. Right, and welcome back to Entrepreneurs Unlimited. I'm Mark Haney, and we've got a few closing thoughts, and I guess it would be around appreciation. I want to thank my sponsors, Doug Esposito of Owen Dunn Insurance, James Beckwith and Jason Hartman at 5 Star Bank, Richard Bakken and Clay Evans of Stifel Financial, Michelle Halston of the law offices of Greenberg and Trorig, and of course Tom Candris, my good buddy over at Package One. If you need a box, anything cardboard made, go to Tom Candris at Package One. So it was a great show. Next week is going to be off the charts as well. We're going to have Kevin Nagel, the largest local owner of the Sacramento Kings. He also founded a $5 billion company called Envision RX. He's the managing partner of our local soccer team, the Republic FC. So we're going to have a great show next week. And also just a little shout out to Uriah. You know, as I listened to Uriah on the show today, I had a takeaway, and it was like, wow, only in America can a guy be a walk-on, a regular young man from Lincoln, California, walk on to UC Davis and then build this MMA empire and beyond. And, you know, that can't just happen anywhere. That takes, obviously, a certain kind of person to do that, but it also takes a certain type of environment and a certain type of country. So I want to say, that we wouldn't have that kind of freedom if it wasn't for the brave men and women of our armed forces going over and fighting for our freedom. And so just, free enterprise is not free. And I want a little salute too to all the nonprofits and all the associated people that support our veterans. Some of you guys know that my son is a veteran. He was wounded in Afghanistan, and he's now a part of our enterprise. And I just, when I think about all the different things I'm doing now, I do it thinking about my son and keeping him in mind. So God bless all those that serve. And God bless America. Thanks for staying with me. I'm Mark Haney, Entrepreneurs Unlimited. I hope you stay with me. Thanks.